Welcome to the collection of the wildest and craziest AITA Reddit stories of all time. From wild betrayals to shocking twists, these tales will leave you questioning who is really in the wrong. Let's dive in together. The first story for this collection is from Javelin Extra. AITA for telling BF he isn't noticing how inappropriate his relationship with his SIL is. He, 31M, has a good relationship with his brother's girlfriend. They would text and talk and hang out often with his brother present. He showed appreciation to her as she said she loved them, brother and partner, one time when they were out camping, and their bond grew stronger. They've known each other a very long time. She's been with the brother over a decade, but grew closer to my BF about a year or two before I came in the picture. She texts him about random things and questions about making plans on behalf of his brother, etc. I didn't think anything of it, and thought it was pretty normal. My BF was giving me a hard time about spending time with me, and pretty much stopped dating me, and when we'd go on simple dates that I insisted on, he was very transparent on how he hated every second of it. However, he was very excited anytime a hangout would pop up with his brother and his SIL. Usually, she was the one to reach out to him about the plans, not the brother. I started to notice how he would pretty much be on go whenever she reached out. For example, I would ask him for simple things, like taking out the trash, and he would not do it. But if she called, asking that he goes pick up a package for her, he would instantly drop whatever he was doing to oblige. He would often be invited over at their place, and was very happy to spend the time with them. I would go sometimes. Other times, it was just him. Sometimes she'd text me with the plans, but I'd politely decline or not respond. And then she'd reach out to him directly, even though I already responded on our behalf. I found this odd and found it to be a bit of a boundary cross. It seemed off-putting to me because she would try to convince him despite already having an answer, and sometimes he'd change his mind and end up going. I also found this disrespectful because to me that seemed like she didn't respect me as an equal partner to my boyfriend, like I couldn't possibly be speaking for both of us in something we discussed, so she just had to go directly to him behind my back to get her answer. I also felt like it put me in a bad light that he sometimes would change his mind while talking to her and go because I thought it could possibly have them thinking I was the one rejecting them and keeping him from them. I asked my BF why she was reaching out directly to him, and he got an attitude. Anyway, my BF and I weren't speaking after a heated argument, and I walked in on him editing pictures of his SIL. I asked him about the picture, and he said since her birthday was coming up, he wanted to do something nice for her. He never initiated any celebrations for my birthdays. In fact, did not acknowledge my 30th birthday at all. The past celebrations we had were initiated by me, and he was not happy to be doing them. But here he was editing pictures of another girl for her birthday, because he wanted to do something nice to celebrate their special day. Around the same time, he brought her up one time we were watching TV, saying the character reminded him of her, and I noticed him starting to say words that his SIL would say, the same way she would say them. He also said her name meaning to say mine while speaking to his brother. I started to notice how all of those things made me feel extremely uncomfortable, so I finally told him there was lack of boundaries between them and that he needed to reaffirm the fact that our relationship was his priority, so that she'd stop being so comfortable reaching out constantly like that. I explained to him that she didn't owe me anything, so of course it wasn't inappropriate of her to want to continue a close bond with him. It was inappropriate of him to allow that to continue to happen, as if I wasn't in the picture now. He was in a relationship with me, so it was his job to behave in a way that clearly communicated that to people, and that from that people would pick up and behave accordingly to respect our relationship. I also told him how I noticed his behaviors changing, and that they were resembling her mannerisms, and that it made me feel uncomfortable. He went off on me, accusing me of accusing him of being in love with his brother's girlfriend. Of course, I was appalled that was the first thing he said in response. He also said I had a thing against the SIL. I don't have any problems with her. I've enjoyed her company a handful of times and would probably have a much closer relationship with her if it wasn't for the fact that I can't allow her any more closeness to us BC. It's already so out of order on their end. I also told him this, and he refuted the fact. He said I was jealous of her and delusional, and then started to talk about other things he found troubling in our relationship. I asked why he was deflecting now, and he completely flipped out on me, saying that he felt so disgusted and ashamed of what his family would think Once they found out what I was saying, and he didn't even want to think of how his family would react if they were to find out I said those things, so he wasn't even going to tell anyone BC of the big shame he would feel, and complete embarrassment and disappointment in me. OP is not an AH, and her reaction is 100% justified because her boyfriend's behavior falls in the territory of emotional cheating. OP's boyfriend is an AH for being attracted to his brother's girlfriend and dismissing OP genuine concerns. As for scores, I would rate OP's boyfriend 2.5 out of 5 on the AH scale, and OP gets at 0. Let's now jump onto the next story, from Dark Elizabeth _eng, my ex left me the day before our wedding. AITA, my 29F, and my ex 27M were going to get married today. Right now, I should be celebrating with all our family and friends, but instead I'm crying in my parents' bathtub while my dad accepts the wedding cake downstairs. I'll probably sound nuts, but I still love him and miss our life. It's really gone now. About 2.5 years ago, my ex and I met at a work training. It was like maybe 2 months after a man had died on location due to an accident. We both worked in a remote fly-in, fly-out mining site. Despite being there for over a year, we had never crossed paths. 3,000-person site. At this training, I got sat with him, and we just clicked. He was gorgeous, funny, clever, and just a kind person. It was like meeting a peaceful sunset as a person. I messaged him after the training, and he seemed as interested in me. Our country went bananas due to the pandemic, so it made it hard to catch up at first. But I loved every minute of our journey. He came with me to my sister's wedding in America, very long way from our home country, and he just fit in so perfectly. He made me feel like I was enough of everything. He even told my family and friends I was the best thing that happened to him. He was certainly the light in my life when I have struggled for so long. He made me look at myself as worthy and to do things to improve me for my own sake. I'm not the best person. I've actually been a horrible person in my life. I've really hurt people before I recognized that I was broken inside and needed help. 5 to 6 years ago, I sought help and found I met the conditions for a lot of things. Bipolar, ADHD 1, ADHD 2, depression, manic compulsion, sound sensitivity. However, I mainly fell into the autism spectrum. I think I am okay with this. I tried lots of medications and found one that suited me. My ex hated that I took medication. Lots of people in my country think they are just happy pill. But I need the extra help to regulate my emotions and feel normal. I still go to therapy now, as I know I am a work in progress. I'm trying my best to love me, as I am not for who I think I should be. These last 2 weeks have been the worst of my life. Since he and I started dating, I took a job in the main city so we could see each other more. We moved into a house after we lived in my apartment, and we bought a dog home a year ago today. To me, this was my forever and ever person. I've never felt such a deep and gentle love for someone. I could have cared if he wasn't handsome, or strong, or made money. To me, just being himself authentically was the best thing I could see. My ex comes from a big family. This is where I think I might be the AH. His mother, XMIL, F53, is very different when he is around and when he is not. She lives for drama, to be the main character, and to that degree, so does his sister, XSIL30F. Over the years, before me, my ex broke his back for his family. Every dollar he made went to them. I don't want to disclose their business, as I still love him and them dearly, but I knew he needed to not be their cash cow, as he was their son and brother. My ex has 3 younger siblings, 20M, 18F, and 16F. They are the best people you would ever get to meet. I miss them, and I love them so much. I've got to see them grow into wonderful people despite having a fractured home life. X's dad, 60M, works away for majority of the month, and XMIL works a lot as a shift worker. In May, X and I fell pregnant. I was so careful, but baby stopped growing at 6 weeks, and I started to miscarry at 8. My heart aches for that baby, as I've always wanted kids to love and see grow. I still think about them a lot. I thought X did too, but I'm not even sure anymore. 18F 2 weeks ago. She's been struggling on and off for a while, and trusted me with her thoughts of not wanting to be here anymore. Honestly, I felt my heart break. She's lovely, kind, sassy, and a beautiful young lady, sharp as a tack and drives like a maniac, but she's got a soft heart. Her first boyfriend has moved to a country far away, and I think she felt alone. Being 18, adult in our country, I figured let's help. I've been there, in that dark place feeling alone. I tried to be what I needed, to listen, to go to the doctor and get help from a professional. XMIL did not like this. She liked to control the people around her. I don't really mind mostly, but 18F needed support, and that's my bottom line. I didn't disclose her details to her mother because she wasn't ready. XL made it plain that she doesn't care about F18's rights and demanded to know the details. I shared what I thought was appropriate, but this is an adult, not a child. This came to a head a week ago when F18 was thought to have had a seizure, maybe due to the new antidepressants. X phoned his mother and told her what was going on. I disagreed, but I don't make the calls with his family. X wants not happy. There were tears and a fight. We never fight. I hate the loud shouts, so we always calm down and resolve our problems. I pledged with him to advocate for his sister. This was Saturday night, and F18 stayed with us that night. F18 and X-Mill sat at my home on the Sunday morning to discuss the situation. I advised X that I couldn't be part of it as it was his family. Plus, I was mad and didn't want to cause more issues than needed. In that moment, my feelings on the situation didn't matter. F18 needed help. I hope she is now. That same Sunday was my bridal shower. I've been so excited for weeks as it is at the second best restaurant in our city, and I spent about approximately $950 to take the important women in my life out. This specific place only does 1.5-hour bookings for large groups. There was 19 of us, so big group, 2 big tables. X thinks it wasn't on purpose, but his family, 8 guests, was 1 hour late. F18 messaged me, I think just past the booking time, saying they will be there in 10 minutes. X-Sil brought 3 out of 5 kids. Totally fine. Those kids are awesome. The issue was, they could park the 2 cars? In my city, there are so many parking areas. And why not research it before the day? Drop some people off? X-Sil messaged me, I think 30 minutes after he booking, saying they were looking for parking. I had my hands full with, my bridal party. They came in after an hour. I greeted them, remember that, but they just flopped down at their chairs, and I went back to organizing the food to start coming out again. The session ended about 30 minutes later, but my sister paid for the extension so that X's family wouldn't be rushed. I stayed till most of my guests had left, and just message, and my best friend got up to sit with them. They were at the other table. They just kind of didn't give a dokey about being there. I was getting upset, so I said, bye family, and left with my friend. I dropped my bestie off maybe 30 minutes later. I was still upset, so called X to vent. Keep in mind he has never stood up to his family for me, and I have never asked him to. X saw red and yelled at all of them. Given I was still going over it, I stuffed some details. Main points are, they were 1 hour late, they didn't greet me properly, and they were kind of rude to my guests, aka my mum and bridesmaids. The point X-Mel and X-Sil are getting stuck on is not greeting me, which I greeted them and they just behind me, and they kept saying they had messaged me. My ex has done a total flip. AI have lied apparently. The next day, Monday, I was still feeling pretty fragile. X was so mad, but the only one home Sunday night was me. The only one being yelled at and listening to him hit stuff and punch stuff in the garage was me. X used to be a fighter and is still a very capable fighter, so I have no hope if he decides to swing that my way. He has never ever done that, but I also haven't seen him go nuts and bashing a surfboard to bits before. I wanted things to be okay. I wasn't ready to talk it all out. I wasn't really sure what I had done wrong at that point, but I shouldn't have whined to him about his family. That's not fair to him. XMIL wanted to come have a big talk about it that Monday night. I really wasn't ready, but I tried to comprise, saying I would listen and hear her out. First thing she says is, "What do you think happened?" Dude, what? Actively listening means I don't talk. X was a terrible mediator. X-Emil basically started a rant, how X called all his immediate family and yelled at them because I lied and set him off. I point blank told X that I had told him, and I had, that she would blame me. I felt like I was going to explode, so I picked up my things and went to my parents' place. When I got there, I just sobbed. I love X. I would do anything as I put him first. We were a team. My father calmed me down and X asked if he could come over. I thought he'd be calm, but he was immediately pissed and said, "What F was that?" That's autism, my dude. Overwhelmed, seek safe place. That's my deal anyway. I like to talk things out when I'm calm, have reflected, and try to see things in perspective. X left and I eventually went back to our home. Since then, X was a wreck. He's been crying nonstop. He's been inconsolable, and I even spent most of my therapy session Thursday trying to get myself to a place to talk to his family. I just wanted to wait until after the wedding. I sent their group chat this message on the Tuesday night, after X had approved it. "Hi X's family. I wanted to reach out because I know things have gotten tense, and I'm really sorry for any hurt or misunderstandings that came from my words or actions. When I talked to X, I was just venting in a moment of stress and frustration. I didn't think through how it might affect everyone else. I never intended to cause any upset, and I regret that it's unfolded that way. Please know that I love and value each of you deeply, and your feelings mean so much to me. As someone who processes emotions differently, I sometimes need a little extra time and space to work through intense situations. I'm learning ways to handle my reactions in a constructive way, and I hope you can understand that this isn't about avoiding anyone, but about ensuring I can show up as my best self with all of you. Both X and I feel so grateful to have you in our lives, and we truly want to share this special day with you by our side. Right now, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed and need a little space to regroup, as there's a lot on my plate at the moment. I hope you can understand, and I look forward to being with all of you with a clear mind and open heart. Thank you for your understanding and patience. It means a lot to me, and I hope we can move forward together with love." X still replied, no one else did, with this: "I appreciate the effort of your words in this message. My concerns are, how is this going to get resolved if you aren't willing to have a conversation anytime soon, asking for more space? A storm was created unnecessarily, but you still don't want to sort it out? I hope things can be better for the future." Friday was our rehearsal. X Mill and X Sil did not attend, despite X Sil's husband being a groomsman. When we got home, X completely feels apart. I held him for every step. For anyone who has seen their loved one fall apart knows that it's the worst feeling in the world. He said he didn't think he could go through with the wedding anymore. Saturday, I tried to hype him up so he could at least try and enjoy his bachelor party. Doing some car racing thing, crazy car people. He called and asked to come home. We spoke a little, but I advised that if he regrets what he said to his family, he should go and see them. Terrible suggestion by me. That night, I went to my parents as I was also in tears. X wouldn't answer my calls or texts. Eventually, my mother called his mother. My parents invited them over to see if they could smooth things over so me and X could still get married. X came later, but he couldn't look at me. I straight away said, "I love you, and all I want is to marry you." He said he can't marry me. There is a bit more, but my memory has been horrible the last few days. He left with his parents and ex-SIL. I went home as I have responsibilities to my pets, and I wanted to sleep in my bed. Today was our wedding day. My sister was the planner, and when she began to call the vendors to cancel, they told her that XMIL had already called to cancel midday the day before. Why come to my parents' home if you weren't going to try and support your son? I've just been crying. My family packed up his things, and his family came with a moving truck to take his things and the dog we shared. I didn't want Pup to be something to fight about. I'm just here, trying to find a place to donate 200 cupcakes. AITA? OP is not an AH, rather her boyfriend and his family are AHs who make such a big decision impulsively and out of a minor conflict. They threw cold water on her efforts to take care of his family. It is truly humiliating. OP's ex-in-laws are AHs, and I would rate them each 4 out of 5 on the AH scale. As for OP, she gets a 0. Let's now jump onto the next story from Mojo Dojo, Casa 31. AITA for blocking my toxic sister while my dad is sick. I, 27F, my sister, 39 soon to be 40F, my brother, 43M. My dad, 66M, has been recently diagnosed with an aggressive cancer. My sister and brother haven't really talked to each other for the past 8 years. With my sister, it's always hot and cold. We argue a lot. We're very different. We don't agree on many things. Last week, my brother texted my mother that he would come visit us. Context. My father might need a major treatment, and we were meeting his new doctor virtually. My brother wanted to be there. He lives 4 to 5 hours away by car, even though he could have been there online. My mother told my sister he'd be there. She replied, "Then I won't come. Enjoy your son." Which led her to text me late at night, essentially ranting about our brother. Now that things are bad again, he reappears and will act like the savior who suddenly cares about our parents, blah blah blah. I told her immediately that I understand, but that I'm uncomfortable with that. She then said that we're always on my brother's side. That's everything's my fault if they don't talk to each other. Because she tried to defend me a few years ago when her wife's aunt insulted me, that she experienced the consequences of that situation because she wanted to help my little sister. I replied that our parents need us all 3 right now. That's all I had to say. To which she answered that she always proved that she, and only her, was always there for our parents since his diagnosis. I replied, "I have no idea why this energy is falling on me tonight, but I don't deserve it. I'm sorry you feel this way. I love you. Mom and Dad love you. But I don't deserve to receive these messages that put me in an uncomfortable situation. See you tomorrow." And then she essentially threw a fit. "I'm sorry to share with you how I feel. The message is clear. I can't rely on you. I'll know what to do next time you come to me for advice. I'm always there to give you advice, listen to you. But I understand that I have no right to do the same with you. I'll stay away from this family now." I told her that I understand she has anger, but it was really inappropriate. Anyway, it goes on and on and on. She was like, "You're giving me responses straight out from your therapist. I'll always be there for Mom and Dad, but yeah, they need all 3 children, not just one." Because she thinks she's the only one supporting them, helping them, etc. I told her to call her therapist the next day, and then blocked her. The thing is, she's always talking like to me. She's not a bad person, but she's meant all the freaking time. She has no filter. She's impatient, rude, toxic, stubborn, and she's a bully. She always has been. Last year, around the same time, we had another fight because I told her that was getting stuck in some kind of culture thing, and she told me that I was a know-it-all. And anyway, yes, she's there. Yeah, she can be supportive. When I need advice, she's there. But she's also super judgmental every single time. She's always been jealous because I am the younger sibling, that I got more opportunities than her, more financial help from my parents. She's had at least 2 burnouts. She's in depression, has anxiety. I also have depression and anxiety. I know she's miserable and lonely. She can't keep a boyfriend because she doesn't want to compromise. I almost never, ever said something. Never defended myself, always shut up. It's like walking on eggshells. Everything you say, no matter how you say it, will turn against you. It's exhausting. She even texted my mother today and told that she's the victim in that story, that I should take accountability for my decision of blocking her, that everything is either my fault or my brother's fault. In therapy, I realized that, for my mental health, it's better to stop putting energy on this. And yet, here she is. I don't regret blocking her. This is literally the first time I set my limits. Enough is enough. I know she started it, that I was respectful. But still, I'm sad and confused, and I feel guilty about my father, who's getting worse and worse. He wanted her to be there. AITA for blocking her? I know I can't change her. But what would you do in this situation? For my father's sake. And my sanity? LOL. OP is not an AH for setting boundaries and blocking her toxic sister. So, I would rate OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. As for OP's sister, she is a big AH for falsely accusing OP of rude behavior when she is the one who is messing up things and creating drama at home. OP's sister is a big AH, and I would rate her 3.5 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now move on to the next story from interesting_Kale_705. AITA, if I skipped my family's Christmas. I'll try to make this short, but I need to know if I would be the asshole. For a little bit of context, my family bought a family home. 5 beds, 2 baths, 2 living rooms. So I live at home. My sister lived at home until 21. I'm 20. My sister is 22. F and my brother is 18M. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I can start with the problem. My brother has been dating this girl. Code names will be Elaine and George for about 3 years. Elaine has always been a bit of problem in my family because she has proven herself to be extremely dishonest. When they were still in high school, she would come over promising she had a ride, and she very often actually did. This was a bigger deal than normal because we live in different towns, so the drive there and home is about an hour and a half, and she would wait until 10 p.m. to tell anyone she needed one. So my sister, my boyfriend, or my parents would end up being out until 12 taking her home. Originally, it was just petty high school stuff. She's always been somebody who thinks being mean is funny, but it was all just more annoying than anything. A while ago, I had been told by a friend. We all went to school together. She had been calling me and my mum names in class. I didn't think too much of it, and just blocked her on everything because she used to text me begging me to wake my brother up from naps to talk to her, and once, she had texted my angry about my Halloween costume. A month or two ago is when the actual problem arose. I'm a new mom and made friends with another new mom who used to be friends with Elaine. She sent me messages of Elaine calling both me and my baby names. I didn't say anything to my brother until she started trying to fight people over dumb stuff, and then I brought it all to his attention. She texted me, and when I started trying to talk to her about the whole situation, she started sending voice messages making fun of me for getting knocked up and not going to college. My brother also didn't go to college, so that's really weird. Also, I was 20 when I had my daughter, and that's not really a weird age to have kids. In the past, she's also called my sister and 2-year-old niece whores for needing a ride from my brother. Anyways, I ended up blocking her again and telling my mom about the situation. After this, my brother mysteriously moved out. Days after my brother came over to pick up his car, my mom had taken it into a shop to pay for repairs. Elaine has already not been allowed at our house, but snuck in anyways. When my mom went to say bye to my brother, Elaine was standing on top of his car and jumping on it. Obviously, she told her to stop, and this started a huge argument where Elaine was calling her a whore and a deadbeat, and just generally being disrespectful. My brother did nothing, and in the past has done nothing. My entire family is extremely uncomfortable around Elaine, but my mom has started inviting her to our family events. My mom has even gone as far as to ask me to lie to my sister about Elaine coming, because she won't come if she knows Elaine is going to be here. She has trapped me at least twice by lying to me about Elaine coming. When Elaine is here, she speaks to nobody but my mom and my brother. My stepdad, me, my boyfriend, and my sister's family are all extremely uncomfortable. Anyways, on to the Christmas stuff. My mom has invited Elaine and George to stay the night at our house on Christmas evening. I don't want to be around her, especially on a holiday that is supposed to be for family. My sister is already pissed and doesn't want to come because my mom continues to have family nights, but it's just guilt tripping me into canceling my plans, inviting Elaine and George, and not inviting my sister because she assumes I will. I have talked to my mom a handful of times about the situation to try and tell her how uncomfortable it makes everybody. Plus, as a mom, I don't want Elaine around my infant baby that she's called fat and ugly or my niece that she called a whore. But my mom just screams that I'm being petty and that she won't get to see her son if Elaine can't come. What should I do? I don't want to miss Christmas because it's my daughter's first, but I know the day will be ruined and filled with anxiety if Elaine is there. OP is not an AH, rather her brother's girlfriend is an AH for her toxic behavior. Also, OP's mom seems to be unreasonable for inviting Elaine to family events despite knowing history of her toxic behavior. OP's refusal to attend the party in the presence of Elaine is 100% justified. As for scores, I would rate OP's mother 1, Elaine 2.5, and OP 0 on the AH scale. Let's now jump onto the next story, Educational-Slice 488. AITA. For shouting and storming out of my friend's house? Around July time, I met my girlfriend. For privacy's sake, we'll call her Emily, and a new friendship group. There were 8 of us, and I knew 2 of them before, both being childhood best friends. I was getting to know a lot of people, including my girlfriend, and it was a pretty fun time. This was until pretty recently, where me and my ex started having a bit of relationship issues. I felt as though she has started to distance herself, no longer wanting to go on dates with me, or calling and texting. I missed her a lot, so I decided to have a conversation with her about it. I called her, telling her I felt her distance and was wondering if I had done anything wrong, to which she asked if I was crying and then laughed. I asked her for the first time if this was a relationship she wanted, and she said yes. I hung up, still really upset, but acted like everything was normal. This was until we hung out with the friendship group again. We both got very drunk, and she asked me that if we were to ever break up, would I make the friendship group turn on her? I got really upset at this, and ended up leaving the party crying. I ended up messaging her, saying if we could talk about this in person, to which we did. I asked her if this was a relationship she wanted to continue, and she said yes. We spoke about some other things and it was going well, or so I thought. Halloween night comes around, and the friendship group has a party to celebrate. We're having a lot of fun, just doing normal teenage. I'm hanging out with Emily as much as I can, and I feel she's starting to get sick of it, which I understand, so I give her some space. We both get really drunk, and she confesses she doesn't like kissing me. My heart shatters. I'm really upset. It's a thing that hurts to hear from someone you love. She suggests maybe we should break up. I agree. That night was our anniversary as well. I'm heartbroken to say the least, and I decide to head over to a friend's house to sulk the following Monday. The entire morning and night before, one of my friends has also been having some issues, so I've spent those few days burying my issues to make sure he was okay. And it actually helped me out a lot to not focus on my own issues. So once I get there, the two of them, let's call them Ryan and Julia, just let me dump everything I'm feeling about the breakup. I had been asking Julia the night before and the Monday what Emily had said to her, since apparently they had also had a conversation about our breakup. She wouldn't tell me anything, understandable since privacy and all. But what pissed me off was that Ryan showed me the voice note Emily has said about the breakup, where she had confessed to losing feelings for me months back. I was angry. I was angry at Emily for leading me on, and I was angry that my so-called friends never decided to tell me. So, I got really angry. I was shouting, but never at either of them, just at the situation. I was upset at myself for getting played like that. So, I put my shoes on, took my jacket, and stormed out without saying goodbye. I head home, and I messaged them both asking how long they knew about this. They knew since the party. I got pissed off that they kept this from me for so long and told them to not message me again. I messaged Emily about it and asked her if I was a huge joke to her. She said she didn't want to add on to what I was already going through, which I think is stupid. From the first time I brought up how I was feeling and asked if she wanted to break up, till the last time I asked her at the party, she had all those times to break up with me, but she never did. I was feeling lost and heartbroken. I had lost 2 friends who were dear to me and a partner. I haven't messaged Ryan, Julia, or Emily since. But today, I woke up from a nap from Ryan's girlfriend. To sum things up, she said that I took advantage of Ryan and Julia's friendships and that I was aggressive to them. And that in the end they did me a favor and I shouldn't act like the victim. She then brought up how they were good friends when I was going through some stuff at home and how he let me stay at his for a bit. That they were good friends to me because I opened up to them, and they shouldn't have to feel guilty for their actions. I got upset at this, and said that I had comforted both her and him during their tough times, and that I never held it against them, because it's common decency as friends. She then said not to blame anyone else but Emily, from the fact that I was being played. I said I didn't, but was upset at the lack of respect from my friends. I would let any one of them know if their spouse was playing them, rather than keeping it a secret. She then proceeded to say that there was no point in having a conversation about it, considering I don't want to talk blame for my actions and that I'm self-sabotaging. She then proceeded to say I can cuss her out all I want. I was shocked at that since I only spoke to her with respect and made sure to express how I was feeling without taking it out on her. AITA? OP is not an AH for his reactions, because his friend didn't tell him the truth. Given this, his reaction is justified, especially when it involves his girlfriend's betrayal. Here, OP's friends are AHs for hiding the truth. Hiding the truth is equal to lying. As for scores, I would rate OP 0 and OP's friends 2.5 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now move on to the next story from Choice_Evidence 1983. SIL is bitter her ex proposed to me and this got her banned from our family. AITA for this. My 27F fiance's ex is now my older brother's wife, so my SIL. To make it less confusing, my fiance is George, my brother is David, and my SEL is Ella. George, 38M, briefly dated Ella, 34F, 4 years ago. Ella wanted to get married and have kids, but George did not want this with her. He was also having a lot of issues back then, partying, doing drugs, and not being the most reliable person. They dated for 6 months and everything ended in drama, because Ella was not able to make George want to settle with her. Soon after their breakup, she met my brother, and they got married 6 to 7 months after. So, yeah, they moved really fast, and basically Ella dated her ex, broke up with him, met my brother, and got married to him, everything in only 1 year and a couple of months. I met George 2 years ago, and at that time, Ella was already married to my bro. Back then, I had no idea that George was Ella's ex. When George started to feel attracted to me, he changed completely. He quit drinking and doing drugs. He has been sobering ever since, started going to therapy, and overall became a new person. He did this because he wanted to change, and I have been with him during his entire healing journey. I am very proud of him, and we have a healthy and amazing relationship. Even if Ella was already married to my brother, she was furious when she found out I was dating George, and that he was serious with me. She was so cruel, and said a lot of nasty lies. She used to tell everyone that George was grooming me. I was 25 when we became a thing, and he was 36. This is not grooming FFs. She lied that George was abusing me, trying to get me to become an addict like him, and many other things. This ruined my relationship with my brother because he never did anything to make her stop. George and I announced our engagement to my family last week during my dad's birthday. My parents were happy for us, but Ella said, "It must be nice to be the one to get the ring, after someone else struggled to fix him." Again, no reaction from my brother as usual. My parents told her to stop, but I just snapped and told her something along the lines, "He fixed himself, UPOS. And yes, it is nice to know I will be married to the man I love more than anything and who loves me the same. But how is it for you, knowing that no one else except my idiot brother ever wanted to marry you? Does it feel nice?" My parents kicked them out after this. They told her that everybody had enough of her BS. She is insane, because although being married, she is still bitter over the fact that her ex did not want her. She is officially banned from every family event, and my brother is now blaming me. So AITA in this situation? I don't think I am, honestly, but I want to also hear some unbiased perspective. AITA has no consensus bot. OP was NTA with a few YTAs and others. Relevant comments? OP clarifies the details on why SCL is banned, but not her based on multiple comments. OP, why should I be banned from my own family? I am my parents' child, and she is an in-law. I will soon be an in-law to my future husband's family, but I would never attack his relatives in their homes. Also, my relationship with George is not doomed. We are happy, we love each other, and we really have a healthy relationship. A frustrated woman who cannot get over something that happened 4 years ago will not ruin my relationship. Commenter 1. Your style being banned is essentially banning your brother as well. Would George actually go to family events if you weren't allowed to go? OP. No, he would not go without me. But my brother was asked multiple times to address this and keep his wife in line, and he did not. He keeps making excuses for her. Just to be clear, I was able to tolerate this woman for years, and I did it only for my brother, but apparently he was not able to ask his wife to stop. Commenter 2. Yeah, I think we have an unreliable narrator here. George is not sounding like a knight in shining armor, and from Ella's comments that she's trying to keep OP from something bad happening, maybe the family should ask her for specifics? Maybe Ella isn't bitter that her ex didn't want her. Maybe she knows something OP doesn't. This is some messy, and I definitely think we are missing information. OP, I can respect your opinion and thank you for your feedback. Yes, this is how she made it seem, that she knows things that I am too young and in love to see, that she is looking out for me. Some lies that she said are, that George is grooming me. False, I am a consenting adult. Yes, we have an age gap, but it's not like I am 15, and he is 11 years older. She said George will influence me to drink and do drugs to become like him. False, he never did anything like this. He never ever did that with her either. Although in her narrative, she is trying to make people see George as a dangerous man who is running down the street with a needle to corrupt people to do drugs with him, this is not the case at all. Even when he used, he was not like that. He has always been a functional adult. He has a good paying job, but in the past, He was spending his free time at parties, getting drunk or high to numb out some of his feelings, and he was clearly not relationship material. She said his change is not real, that he is just a predator, faking to be a good guy now just to get me. This is false also. I am the one living with him for 2 years, and I think I know better what's happening in my house. So, no. Even if she deludes herself, Ella does not know George better than I do. Did OP have a great relationship with her brother before his marriage to Ella? OP, I love my brother, and we used to have a great relationship before. Since he is older, he was always my protector, but I am deeply hurt and disappointed in how he acted during the last years. Ella and I never bonded or had a close relationship. How did I respond to the snide comments? At first, I tried to be polite and chill, but when her comments did not stop, I also became unkind to her. Update 1. This update will be very long, so if you don't want to waste time reading the first part, you can skip directly to the actual update. Thank you so much for all your comments and reaching out to me. I don't know what I accepted when I posted. I guess I wanted to receive some unbiased feedback from an outside perspective, but I never expected this. I was really overwhelmed with how kind and nice most of you were, so once again, thank you and sorry for not being able to reply to all the comments. For those who were not on the same page, I understand and respect that you have a different opinion. From my initial post, I have left out a lot of details because it's a long story, but some of you were curious about what actually happened and asked me to provide more details, so buckle up, I will do just that. How I met my future husband. I got asked a lot if I live in a trailer park or small town with only a bar available. The answer is no. We actually live in a big city with a population of a couple millions of people. I met my fiancé through a mutual friend. My girlfriend was dating one of George's colleagues, and they all began to hang out for drinks after work since they were all in the same building. At some point, I had no plans for that day, and my girlfriend invited me to go with them to a bar, and this is how we were introduced. After this, we started having different group activities together, and things slowly progressed. George targeted his ex's younger Sael to spite her / there was no coincidence that we started dating. As absurd as it may sound, it was indeed an ironic coincidence. You may think out of the millions of people there are in a city, what are the chances for you to start dating your Sael's ex? Well, it happened to me, and we did not know about it in the beginning. The girlfriend that asked me to go with them to a bar did not know Ella, never saw her IRL, and she never saw her with George. When George met me, he had no idea that I had any connection to Ella, so there was no chance for him to be an evil mastermind and intentionally date me just to spite her. I did not take George home to meet my family immediately either. Maybe I am the weird one, but I was never the type to parade my boyfriends in front of my parents if I was not sure the relationship was going to last. I broke the girls' code. I do not consider that I did. Let's be clear, I have a couple of true friends. They have been my friends for many years, and I would do anything for them. I am a very loyal person, and I know the girls' code very well. When we eventually found out the connection Ella had with both of us, I was shocked, and I asked the same question that many of you did. What were the chances? It was a very uncomfortable position to be in. Even though I had no relationship with Ella except the obvious one of her being my cell, it was strange to know that they dated. I wanted to find out what happened before taking any decision, and I did. The way I saw things, there was no reason for me to punish George for having a past. We were in love, we were happy, and Ella was already married to my brother. I may have been selfish, but I thought, is this man and our relationship worth it? And the answer was yes. To me he was, is, and will always be worth it. Also, we see my brother and Ella only a couple of times / year. Most of the times, for obvious reasons, we prefer to visit my parents separately. George's addictions, so many of you reached out to me being concerned about this, and I wanted to thank you for caring and say, I am sorry you had to go through traumatic experiences with addicts. Some of your stories were hard to read, and I appreciate immensely that you were open to share your experiences with a stranger. I understand why most of you were triggered by my story, but George was not that type of addict. He had a lot of unresolved traumas, he was lonely, unloved, and ashamed, so his coping mechanism were parties, alcohol, and drugs. His entourage was also not the best. You can imagine that a bunch of 36-year-old party boys / girls are no good, But at the end of the day, when everyone else went home to their families, wives, and kids, these were the people who could provide company to George. I think it was more like all of them providing company to each other so they could feel less lonely. But other than this, George was a functional adult. He had a stable, well-paying job. He was and is still working as a software engineer. He was never violent, etc. George changed for me. No, George changed for himself, and because he wanted to. He told me that I was the trigger that made him want to get his life in order, but in a more meaningful way than just wanting to get into my pants. When we started hanging out as a group with my friend and his colleague, he learned how easy it was to interact and have fun without drugs or alcohol. He also saw that I enjoyed spending time with him, I looked forward to seeing him every time, and he understood that his sober self is not unlovable. He was longing for healthy relationships and normality, but until that moment he felt like he was not deserving to have them. I think the way I helped him was solely because I saw and fell in love with his true self, and that gave him confidence and purpose. I am the golden child. There is no such thing in our family. My parents love my brother and I the same. Of course, when they heard Ella's BS the first time, they were worried for me, but I was open with them. I told them how things happened. George was honest and never hid his troubled past from them, and in the end, they were okay with our relationship. My parents trust me, trust my judgment, and they only want to see me happy. And in regards to Ella, my parents are just doing what every parent should, defend their child. She was warned before. My parents talked to her, asked her to stop acting like this, and told her she is out of line, so it's not like they kicked her out the first time it happened. Now into the... Yesterday, I contacted my brother and asked him to meet me for coffee. It was only the two of us, and I think it was the first time I have opened my heart like this in front of him. I started off by apologizing for him being caught in the middle, but I told him I will never apologize or be sorry for loving George. I was honest and told him how much this situation has been affecting me. My brother is the same age as my fiancé, so he is 11 years older than me. During our childhood, he was my protector, the person I looked up to. Due to our age difference, we never really had many activities in common, and I could not wait for the moment I grow up so I can get to share more with my brother as adults. But I did not get the chance to do this because of Ella. David would always teach me to value myself, to choose people who treat me right and make me happy. However, I am not able to share my happiness with him anymore. I understand why he would wish I never met George, but it still hurts knowing that your brother somehow resents the source of your happiness. David would always defend me when I was younger, even in front of our parents. When I was 15, I was experimenting with makeup and it looked bad, really bad. During a family function, one of our uncles got drunk and told me to stop using makeup because I was too young to look like a hooker. David got mad and kicked him out for offending his sister. This is the kind of brother he used to be, and to now see how he stays aside and allows his wife to be offensive and cruel, it's really hurtful. I do not care that she is like that towards me. I don't like Ella at all, and I could easily ignore her. But what gets to me the most is she constantly trying to belittle and humiliate my future husband. I have lived with this man for 2 years. I have shared so many things with him during this time, and I am certain I know better what kind of man he is. I know how hard it was for him to heal all his trauma. I know how hard he worked day by day to become the best version of himself. I know how much he loves me, protects me, supports me, and I simply lose it when I hear her crap and how she is constantly trying to bring him down. Yes, I go bear mode when he is involved, as someone told me in the comments, but I don't care. I will not allow any of my family members to abuse the person I love. I may have tolerated things for my brother's sake, but I will never be quiet in front of his of a wife. I told my brother that I love him, and I will always cherish the memories I have with him, but we cannot go on like this. I understand he is a victim, and I am ready to do anything for him if he is willing to accept that his marriage is not good, that Ella is not a good woman and is abusing him. I cannot force him to divorce her because this has to be his choice, but I told him I will accept his decision no matter what that is. He will always be my brother, but George is my family now. We plan on having kids in the near future, and there is no way in hell I will ever allow his lunatic of a wife to be near my kids. I also refuse to subject George to the abuse. We tried. We thought that this rough period will eventually pass, and that everything will be okay. But unfortunately, Ella became more and more bitter and disgusting. We will still see my parents, but I am standing my ground and will not go to their house if she is present. David and I cried a lot, and for the first time in many years, I felt like I had my brother back. He apologized over and over again and explained a lot of things to me, which gave me the chance to understand him better. But at the same time, I am so angry that I had no idea what was happening to my brother. Some people said that David was a rebound for Ella, but it seems they were both a rebound for the other. What made them marry so fast was the age pressure. My brother was feeling like it was very hard to connect with someone, and the prospect of being able to have a family of his own seemed very far away, until Ella came and offered him the possibility to have exactly what he wanted without too much struggle. So, yeah, in the end, I guess we are all some messed up people in a way or another. I don't know what's going to happen. David said he plans to take some time, go away alone for a couple of days, and think what he wants to do. But he said that when he'll be back, he wants to have a chat with George to apologize to him as well for everything that has happened. My brother knows that everything Ella says is false. He said everyone is able to see how much George loves me, and that we make a great couple, and there are times when he wished to also have something like this in his life. He told me he is proud of the woman I have become, and that no matter what happens, I will always be his little sister. After this, I went home and cried some more with George besides me. I have tried to play strong and denied myself to feel hurt for so long that yesterday I have finally exploded. But it was good because now I feel better. Additional information from OP, responding to multiple comments regarding on trying to be civil to Ella and covering George's past up. OP, hi, I respect your point of view and thank you for your feedback. However, it seems too much to me saying I brought him back into her life. No one expects them to suddenly be BFFs or spend a lot of time together. We do not have the same group of friends. We do not have vacations or trips together. So how is my future husband forced into her life? We only ever meet up for family-related occasions, which are not that many to be honest. In a year, we have Easter, Christmas, and my parents' birthdays, so 4 events. And maybe sometimes some weddings of extended family members, but that's it. Also, no one asked her to do anything or be nice to us. I only ever asked her to ignore us like I do to her, so basically, she was asked to behave like an adult. As an adult, sometimes you will have to share the same space with people you are not really fond of. However, you should be able to be civil and do not make stupid comments. I never liked her, not even before George, so I can also... She is forced into my life? I guess so, but I understood sometimes I have to see her because she is my brother's wife, and that was it. I can understand her experience with my future husband was very different than what I have with him, and I can respect her not liking him. However, I will never accept her idiot comments, her nasty remarks, her lies, and overall, her being a person towards us. She should fix her issues with a therapist, not act like we are her punching bag. Relevant comments? Has OP's brother shared on if there was some type of abuse going on between him and Ella? OP? He did not share much about what is happening to him, but from what I have seen and what he had told me, I don't expect her to be the perfect angel with him. Also, abuse has many forms, and at least she is abusing his kindness and his easygoing nature. She had the guts, multiple times I should say, to come to my parents' house and offend me, their daughter, in their presence, even after they were polite enough and asked her to stop. So again, I don't think that she is being too nice to my brother behind closed doors. OP should share that her brother didn't need to have a miserable future with Ella if she continues to manipulate him. OP, yes I did, and I talked to my parents, and we will target the topic full force when he comes back. I fear she is manipulating him with this, in order to make him accept more than he should. Maybe convincing him that at their age it is too late to find someone to start a family with. But hell, even my fiancé is willing to talk to him and use himself as an example that it is never too late and you should not settle for toxic people. Update 2. 1 month later. Hey. It's been some time since my last update and I kept receiving questions about what's new with my family drama, so I decided to update once again. TLDR. My brother David is divorcing his wife, and we found out a lot of details about her. As expected, she is not taking the divorce lightly. As planned, David did take some time for himself and went to a retreat cabin for a week. He went there alone because he wanted to have the space and time to rethink his life choices. This was exactly what he told Ella, but left out the location because he did not want to risk her showing up there. The first day he was away, Ella contacted my parents and me to ask us about my brother's location. We did not disclose anything. On Wednesday that week, I was contacted by some of my brother's friends. They wanted to know if my brother was okay, and if it was true that David was cheating on Ella. Initially, I was very confused on why would they think that, but they told me that Ella has been going around complaining to people that my brother was cheating on her and that we, his family, were on board with it and covering up his affair. I told my bro's friends that this was not true, but I decided to be petty, so I went on social media, uploaded a photo of me with my brother, and wrote how proud I am of him that he is taking this time to focus on mental health and his well-being. Some hour later, Ella called me and demanded I take down my post because I was embarrassing her. I played dumb and asked her why would a post dedicated to my brother would ever embarrass her. She never answered, never admitted to lying, and I never took down my post. It will stay where it is for posterity. After my brother returned from the retreat, he asked me, George, and my parents to meet up at our parents' place and talk. He apologized for everything that happened with his wife and told us a lot of things about Ella. Apparently, she is a very jealous person, and she has a constant need to put others down so she can look better or feel superior. Bro gave us a lot of examples of things she did, including to some of her relatives and supposed friends. One of her female cousins works for a transport company, so most of her colleagues at work are men. Ella told this cousin's husband that there are high chances of her cousin cheating since she spends every day surrounded by men. Her cousin was pregnant at that time, and I don't know if she was trying to imply the baby may not be her husband's, but still, needless to say, they don't speak to Ella anymore. She had a girlfriend who got into a relationship with a guy. Ella kept telling this girl bad things about her partner that she supposedly heard from other people. She was never able to tell who she heard it from. Most likely, she invented everything. That's why her family members avoid her and never invite her to functions, and she does not have any friends. People from their circle were friends with my bro before he married her, so they are just tolerating her for his sake. I mentioned that Ella must be abusing my brother, and a lot of people took it the wrong way. When I mentioned abuse, I did not mean it as physical abuse, but more like emotional abuse. I guess everyone has their own way of seeing things, but for me, being married and still being pissed about things that happened with your ex years ago is clearly a sign of disrespect towards your spouse. And if someone is able to openly disrespect their spouse over and over again in front of their family, it's a high chance for that person to do more than disrespect behind closed doors. My bro clearly struggles to see his self-worth at the moment, and this is also the reason why he accepted too many things from his wife. But we will be with him, always support him, and remind him what an awesome guy he is. Also, many people were outraged and called me an AH for calling my brother an idiot. I don't know if all of your families and relationships are like those you see in commercials, but in real life, siblings fight. And sometimes when they fight, they may call each other's names. This doesn't mean I don't love my brother or that I don't respect him. But if I see him acting like an idiot, I will always say it to his face and explain why I think he is an idiot. I apologized for calling. I'm an idiot. And he said there is no need to apologize because he expects me to always be honest with him, even if sometimes the truth may hurt. And I understand because I expect the same from him. Anyways, David confronted Ella with everything that she has been doing and told her she needs to get help. She refuses to accept she has any problem. She states that everything that she has ever done came from a place of love and care for that person. Right? Because when you care for your cousin, you lie to her husband that she may be cheating on him, or when you care for your Sile, you lie to everyone that she is forced to do drugs by her partner. She did not take the divorce well, but not because she was losing my brother, but because she saw this as a failure that shattered her perfect image she had of herself. Maybe after some time passes, I will actually be able to feel sorry for her because she is a sad person with so many issues that refuses to get help. Of course, Ella blamed the divorce on me and our family, claiming that David is choosing us over her, so clearly, she does not take any kind of responsibility for her actions. David, however, warned her that if she continues spreading lies about our family, we will hire a lawyer and take legal actions against her. At the end of the day, if she still insists with her crap, she will have to prove everything in court. Of course, we don't want to get to this, but she needs to understand that we cannot say whatever we want about other people and not face the consequences. In the meantime, George and I are planning our wedding, and my bro will be George's groomsman. They really had the chance to bond and even discovered they actually have a lot in common. I don't want to be mean, but ever since Ella is out of the picture, our family gatherings happen more often than before, and the atmosphere is so light. My brother is slowly going back to his old self. He is having a good time with us. No stress, no dissociating. He is just present and enjoying. So that's it for now. I don't know if this was the update you were expecting, but I can say I am happy. We are slowly healing from everything that had happened these past years, and I am positive that in the end, we will be closer and stronger than before. Relevant comments. OP on Ella needing to get help with resolving her own issues, affecting David's self-esteem. OP. Wow, I never thought about this, but you may be right. I have been thinking about your comment and it makes a lot of sense. My brother who has self-esteem issues, her cousin and cousin's husband that were expecting a child, so obviously were in a vulnerable and emotional moment of their lives. Her friend that started dating someone and was going through that initial phase of getting to know the partner and building trust. My brother again when she knew their relationship was on rocks and he may decide to walk away from her, so why not trash his image and conveniently plant affair rumors before a divorce? My parents. Jesus, she may be actually really evil. Commenter 1. Ella sounds like a real piece of work. It's a shame that she couldn't just be happy for you and your brother. Good on you for standing up for him and exposing her lies. Hopefully she gets the help she needs, but it's understandable if people want to distance themselves from her toxic behavior. Keep supporting your brother and reminding him that he deserves better. Commenter 2. Ella sounds like the textbook definition of toxic. Good riddance to her, honestly. Glad your brother's getting his life back together. OP is not an AH here. Rather, OP's sister-in-law is an AH, a big AH, for her toxic behavior. She seems to be epitome of toxic. It seems that her toxic behavior is the result of jealousy for having a failed relationship with her ex-boyfriend. So I would rate OP's sister-in-law 4 out of 5 on the AH scale, and OP gets nothing. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can. And don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries.